What is going on, Pinstripe Chronicles family? This is Donald, and I got Rob with me, and we will be breaking down some Yankee news. Looks like Garrett Cole's option is due to be picked up today, so we will discuss the options and the ramifications of that. Looks like we've got a very lively chat. We do thank you, and we're sorry we run a little bit late. So let's break it down. Robinho, how are you doing over this past weekend, man? Did you just watch football to get your mind off the Yankees or what?
Nothing really takes my mind off the Yankees. I spent pretty much every second thinking, man, we should have been playing Saturday night. We should have been playing Friday night. It was annoying thinking about all that, but obviously now we're in the off season, and I want to say this on behalf of the channel. Thank you to everybody that has subscribed, because we have finally surpassed 800. So a long time coming. We thank all of the new people that have subscribed, and we got a lot of new people in our chat. KC Chiefs, easy three-peat. More than likely, that's true. Good to see you. Good to see a lot of new faces here, and we welcome everybody in the chat, whether you're a fan of the Yankees or not. But in terms of the Yankees and Garrett Cole, that's really, first of all, we didn't know what the day was. Some reporters said Sunday. Now they're saying it's tonight. Shockingly, we're already off to a rocking start here in the offseason. Reporters getting stuff wrong. But yeah, I think to answer the question that is in our title, there should only be one answer for this, and it's yes. I don't see any scenario where you let Garrett Cole walk unless they're working on a new deal where maybe he gets paid a little bit less to help bring Soto back. That's something I can see Garrett Cole doing, but there in no way, shape, or form do you let Garrett Cole walk. And that should be the only answer to this question.
The only caveat to that is, would the Yankees look into possibly renegotiating the deal? Maybe getting the AAV down a little bit if you kind of told Garrett Cole, listen, man, the only way we can bring back Juan Soto plus rebuild the other areas of the team is if you deferred some of your money to down the line. Would you be cool with that? That's the only other caveat to that maybe that's why they wouldn't pick up their option. I'm surprised they haven't done it already. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't just take 2 seconds. But that's my only rationale and thinking behind that, is to maybe try and renegotiate that deal down a little bit. What would you say to that?
You know, that there's a part of me that's thinking that, like, oh, they're renegotiating this because Cole's what now, 34, I think. So we'll have him till about 39 years old. Does he need to take a pay cut? Absolutely not, because even on a season where he was injured, he was still our best pitcher. But at the same time, he wants to win more than anything. But you can say the same thing about other players on this roster. Like, why stop at Cole? Maybe Judge should take a little bit of a pay cut. Maybe Stanton should try to rework that deal if possible. I don't know how far down the rabbit hole you can go, but considering Cole is technically a free agent right now, it makes sense to try to rework that deal. Like, hey, we'll pick up that option, but you can defer some money. But would Scott Boras allow that to happen? We got to remember who his agent is. I don't know if Scott Boras is going to allow that. If, again, it would come down to Garrett Cole. Does Garrett Cole say he wants to do it? But we got to remember who his agent is, one of the most stubborn people. And we got to deal with this guy again to try to bring Soto back. So
Facts.
There's so many things to think about there. It could be a simple rework of the contract. Do you extend him another year, but lower the AAV? Yeah. Something like that. There's so many things that you can do. And that's a good point, Acevedo. Stanton, the Marlins are paying some of Stanton's money, so you kind of take that out of the equation. So there's so many things to go on, but hopefully that's the case. If they can rework that Cole deal where the AAV comes down and you can use that towards Soto and other needs, then I would feel a lot better about where we're going with this offseason. Because right now, if Cole is back at the $36 million or whatever the number is, and you get Soto for, let's say, $46 a year, or $47 a year, there's not a lot of wiggle room to add to the roster unless you're making trades. Do you trade a Nestor Cortez? Do you trade a Marcus Stroman to get his money off the books? You'd have to get very creative, and we know that Brian Cashman's strong suit isn't creativity. So
No,
we kind of have to hope that this is what they're doing with Garrett Cole, because you're right.
adding on 50 million to your payroll for Josh Donaldson. That's
Right. And there's been so many instances where his creativity has been an absolute bomb. So I would hope that they are doing this, because you're right. They absolutely should have picked it up immediately. The second he opted out, they should have said, well, we're giving you the 10th year. But it makes me wonder if they are trying to rework that deal, because it's taken far too long for them to say yes to an obvious yes.
right. How would you account for why it's taking this long?
They're trying to rework the deal. I think that's it. I really do. And maybe I'm being too optimistic, because the Yankees know they have to get back to where they were a few days ago and try to win this time. And the only way you do that is by keeping Juan Soto and adding to the areas of need. You can still build from within in certain positions. Like if they went with Peraza next year at second, I'm not going to complain. I love Peraza, but
Absolutely, yeah.
you have to have Soto back. You have to strengthen this bullpen, and you might have to put some money into it this time. You can't keep relying on these bargain bin relief pitchers to get you through the playoffs. You have to actually spend a little bit, not a ton, but there's ways that you can use the money and your farm system to make this team even better. And I think with Cole's age, you can try to rework that. He's not taking a significant pay cut. We're not saying, oh, go down to like 20 million, but if you can drop it to like 30 or something like that per year, that 6 million can go a long way to adding to the bullpen and to other areas of need.
I mean, let's have a look at the arbitration eligible Yankees. So there's Scott Efros and there's Hamilton. Would you pick up their arbitration? Their arbitration one.
Probably, just because you know that when they are healthy, they can be effective, but the health is a question.
Yeah, I mean they're fairly cheap. I think Hamilton's is
Yeah,
about like 1 mil, and then or maybe 2 mil, and then Efros is like 900
yeah,
k.
you're not
So
breaking the bank for those guys. So I would say you definitely go to arbitration with those guys.
then you got Schmidt, Chisholm, and Leiter. I mean Chisholm's a no brainer.
Schmidt's a no-brainer.
Schmidt's a no brainer. Leiter.
I mean, the playoffs he did perform very well. I'll give him that. Just for the fact that he's a veteran arm, you might think about it. It
Right.
depends on how much the money would be. They could non-tender Grisham. You're right, Stevie B. I believe Leiter's going to be brought back. I just don't know if I want it, but I can definitely see it.
Yeah, I think it's probably more than likely. Um, the other candidates we're looking at Nestor Cortez, Grisham, Trevino, and Brubaker. I don't see Brubaker being a yes.
No, he's been hurt 2 years in a row. He never came back from an injury. I think you just let him walk.
I wouldn't pick up Trevino either, to be honest.
Lou or Jose?
Jose.
Oh yeah. I would just go with Narvaez as the
Yeah,
backup. But they love Trevino so much, I can see.
they're
Yeah,
obsessed with that.
they declined Lou Trevino's option. You're right, NFE.
Yeah. And then we've got Grisham and Cortez. I would pick up Grisham and then consider maybe trading him or keeping him as a fourth outfielder.
I think at this point, your outfield currently would be Judge, Dominguez, and somebody, because right now Soto's not technically on the roster.
Right.
Um, so you would need, yeah, you might have to bring back Grisham just in case, and he would start in center field. That would move Judge to right, and that's disaster plan, like B, if you don't have Soto come back.
Yeah, and we also don't have a left fielder either.
Right, you got to teach Dominguez you got to give him a full off season of working in left field before you can stick
Right.
him out there.
And that will take the organization actually teaching somebody. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
Tim Mesa?
no.
No. Birdie? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a valuable piece, but unfortunately he keeps getting injured all the freaking time.
Yeah, so it makes you wonder if they maybe you get him because they can always agree to a different deal before arbitration. Maybe you give him like a cheapish 1 year deal, or you just let him walk and you use Cabrera in that role, or a guy like Caleb Durbin could step in that role.
I just think that he would have value because there'll be some of these dudes will have value in trades, and it would be worth picking up just just to make them possibly available. That's what I
Yeah,
would. That's what I would say to that. Nestor Cortez, would you consider picking? Because that's, I think this is around about like 6-7 million, something like that, and that's kind of high. Would
yeah.
you would you maybe consider not picking up that?
I think they might try to move Stroman because this postseason told us a lot about how they view Marcus Stroman. The fact that they let Cortez pitch in the World Series before Marcus Stroman even threw a pitch in the playoffs when
Mm.
Stroman was healthy. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with Stroman. Do you eat some of that contract just to move him? Do
Oh
you
no,
pay like?
he's got to go.
Yeah, I think they got to get rid of him. So in that case, you kind of have to keep Nestor around just for the 1 more year. He's a lefty. You can always use two lefties in the rotation. Just because you know when he is healthy, he's pretty solid as the back end of the rotation kind of guy.
No, he
You can't.
is. He is. That is true. The Yankees didn't put him in any position to succeed in the postseason, so I'm certainly not going to hold that against them when considering the option. But yeah, those are the options that we have to consider. Marcus Stroman is on a team-friendly contract. You're right, Stevie B. I just don't think the way that the Yankees didn't use him at all is it really worth even messing around with that. Just let him walk.
Plus, he has that option though. He has to throw 140 innings, and then his third year will kick in. So, do you
Right.
want to give that to another team? That's why I think they might have to eat some money just to not. I'm not saying to get to pay like half of it, but if you have to eat like a few million just to move him and have another team have to pick up that option, because he'll more than likely hit 140 innings this year.
I liked him, but obviously he struggled post All Star break.
Right.
But I thought he had a really strong first half of the year. But that seems to be the trend with Marcus Stroman, where first half of the year he's cooking, and then the second half of the year he falls apart. That's been the trend with him for the past couple of years. So um, I think he's going to be a trade candidate. I don't see him in any way coming back at all. But the Yankees do need to get creative. Um, they have to break the bank for Juan Soto. I mean, they have to make sure that they match whatever the Mets offer is. Because we know that the Mets are going to offer the most. It's cool. The Yankees need to make sure that they are very much not just in that ballpark, but pretty much neck and neck, and leave it there. I mean, let's be honest. The Yankees make so much money; it's insane. I don't want to hear about how Al Steinbrenner has to answer to bondsmen and how he has to answer to this, that, and the other. There's no excuse. Um, Prior to this season, the Yankees made $670 million. The Dodgers made $500+ million a profit. The Yankees are the number one team in terms of profit, income, all that stuff in baseball. Yet they only use about what 45% of their income on the playoff team on their actual payroll. Um, Whereas everybody else, like the Mets, I think they use like 87%. The Dodgers use the vast majority, 70% plus. Yankees only use like 45% because they've got bondsmen. That's our four. But I mean, at the end of the day, the Yankees can more than afford Marcus Stroman. They can more than afford a top first baseman. They can afford all that stuff. So I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about this self-imposed budget. I really don't. And then when you look at this year, the Yankees must have made a ton of money. Are you kidding me? For me, Soto was the most popular Yankee last year. The place was flooded to go and see Juan Soto, right? And they made a ton of money in their postseason run. Shit. I mean, I did the calculations. If to fill out Yankee Stadium and in the playoffs, every ticket cost around about $2,000, right? The Yankees would have made about $90 million, right? And there was some tickets that were going for like $6,000, and then we're not even talking about the overpriced beer and the chicken buckets and all that shit that's going right into their pockets. They can more than afford Juan Soto. I mean, they could probably afford Soto's contract just with their playoff contract or playoff run alone. So I just don't want to hear about a budget. I don't. Now, am I Hal Steinbrenner? Am I aware of what's going in and out? No, I'm just a fan. But when you look at the numbers of what's coming in, and the fact we're only using about what half of it on the payroll, then I think you can afford Juan Soto. I really do.
I mean, we know the Yankees have money. That's we've known this. This is pre Hal. This is when George was here, even when Hal was here, and his brother Hank was here. The Yankees have never had a shortage of money. The only thing I will agree with Hal is you shouldn't have to have a $300 million payroll every single year to build a winner. However, the two teams that were in the World Series this year and three of the four teams that made it to the final showdown had the three highest payrolls in baseball. So you can do a mixture. The Yankees can use their wallets and they can use their farm system to build a consistently good winner. That's how they did it back in the day. That's how they should continue to do it. The Dodgers are doing that as well. They use their wallets and they use from within. And they've got plenty of young talent coming up in that system that they can use at different positions, but they can also spend their way to repeating. And I don't have a problem with that. If you have the money, you're supposed to use it. The Guardians owner is one of the most wealthiest people in the sport, and he doesn't spend that much money, but he could if he wanted to. That would have made it, for the final four teams all have some of the richest owners in baseball. So the Yankees have to use the money, but they don't have to go crazy on the payroll. They can get creative. They can do these different things and try to maneuver money around if they had to. But when it comes to Juan Soto, you should not be outbid. This is a once-in-a-lifetime player. This is a generational player. There's no contingency plan for Juan Soto. There's no Santander and Walker and Ha-Seong Kim that I saw that get thrown around. Those three, as good as they may be, they're not recreating Juan Soto. You're not. This is not Moneyball where you're signing three players to recreate Jason Giambi's on-base percentage. You're not doing that. This is Juan Soto, so you keep him around. And Dad, I swear to God, if you're using that Aaron Judge joke, I'm gonna time you out.
He ain't playing.
There's no world where you should be outbid for Juan Soto. You're the New York Yankees. This is the time where you have to act like it. Hal said to Aaron Judge, "What's it gonna take?" They did it. He's got to do the exact same thing for Juan Soto. What's it going to take for you to stay here? And if Soto gives you what he wants, he tells you what he wants, and you got to give that to him. If he gives you a number and a year figure and say, I will re-sign for this, you say yes. You cannot let this guy walk.
So I've got to further my point from the at Tom_Rafferty. He's got the list of the payrolls and the revenue that comes in here. So the 2023 revenue, the New York Mets made $393 million, and their 2024 payroll was just under that, $342 million. Right, so that's 87% of their payroll goes into their playing squad, and the revenue goes into their playing squad. The Dodgers are another example. So they made the second most behind the Yankees. They made $549 million. Their payroll's $330, so that's 60%. The Yankees blew everybody away with almost $700 million, $679 million they made in 2023. And their payroll in 2024 was $316 million, which is 46%. So the Yankees are only putting 46% of their payroll into the revenue. they can more than afford this, man. They can more than afford this. There isn't a doubt about it. There just is, and there's going to be a ton of teams that are going to be after Juan Soto. There's going to be like 11 teams after Juan Soto, according to the reports. And I think Steve Cohen's the one that's going to go in hardest.
We knew that from the get. We knew that from the second the Yankees got Juan Soto that the Mets were going to be the stiffest competition for him because of
Mm-hmm.
how much money they have coming off the books, and a year of Soto in New York would help the Mets out, whether he played for them or not. So we always knew it was going to come down to. It's going to come down to Yankees and Mets. I think there's only one other team that scares me, or maybe two. It's the Dodgers, and the Blue Jays have money to throw around. The Blue Jays were very, very in on Otani, and they could be looking to make a splash because they still have Vlad Jr., they still have Bichette, they still have a good team that can make a run at this thing. So Juan Soto will make them dramatically better. There's three other teams that I would say afraid of, but at the end of the day, if Hal Steinbrenner lets himself get outbid by the Blue Jays, we need to really start wondering who we have running the show here. It's just the end, like I said earlier. At the end of the day, yeah, that's a good point, Jason. There's a lot of teams that are just going to drive up the price, so they can't get outbid for this guy. 26 years old, superstar. He's already proven it at the big stage multiple times that he can get you to where you want to go. Without Juan Soto, we're not a World Series team. We're a first round exit without Juan Soto. You have to keep this guy. He just
Well, yeah,
just his addition to the team you take last year's team didn't make the playoffs. You add Juan Soto to it and not much else because let's face it, Verdugo wasn't taking us to the World Series. You add Juan Soto to this team and you're in the World Series. Like, yeah, we might not even be first round, John. So like, yeah, obviously you keep Juan Soto around. It's going to be a long time, Jason. Be prepared for another Yamamoto like wait where every single thing is reported and John Heyman repeats himself 57 times.
I expect it to go as long as the Aaron Judge stuff went. And I assume it's going to go very similar to the Aaron Judge stuff. There's going to be good days, and then there's going to be some really bad days. There's going to be days where we're pretty sure he's going to the Mets or the Phillies. And then there will be days where like, oh, the Yankees still have hope. And so it's going to be like that. I think there's going to be a lot of up and down. At the end of the day, the only person that knows is not going to be any of the reporters. It's going to be Juan Soto. The only lie that Juan Soto told, I think, in the press conference after the World Series was that New York isn't a priority for him. I genuinely believe New York is a priority for him. I think he absolutely loved playing in New York. From everything that I've heard, all the sources I've spoken to, Juan Soto adored playing in New York. So I do think that the Mets and the Yankees are like number one, number two in this. I think if the Yankees match the Mets number, then I would be surprised if he went to Queens, considering the relationship he has with the Yankee fan base. I think that would be the one that puts it above the Mets. I mean, from a personal standpoint, do I see him wanting to be like the number one in Queens, or do you think he'd be all right being like kind of like 1A 1B with Aaron Judge? Is he kind of cool with that? Or does he actually want to be front and center of the whole frickin' shebang in Queens? That's the only thing I can think of. It really depends on how the Mets sell this thing, because the Mets can sell better management. They do. They've got better management. They've got a better manager, and a team that's very much on the rise. And they could really work their skill set around Juan Soto. Whereas the Yankees are very stubborn, arrogant, stuck in the past. Are those kind of things going to harm them in a Juan Soto negotiation role?
Well, you got to look at what the Mets roster is currently. They don't have a first baseman. They lost Minaya. I would assume they try to bring him back, but he was one of their better pitchers. Senga's coming off of an injury-filled season, so they got to hope he bounces back. They have a lot more holes than we do, believe it or not. That's the thing, because they gotta find out who's at first. If they bring in Soto, I believe JD Martinez was a 1 year deal. So who's your DH? Is Nimmo going to be as good this year? Probably. Nimmo's a great player, but what's Jeff McNeil going to be? They're paying him a lot of money. We know Vientos is a star in that team, but they have some young talent, but they also have holes in both the rotation, the bullpen, and on offense. So Juan Soto doesn't necessarily fix a lot of things. The Yankees, if you bring Soto back, there is a lot less they have to figure out. It's really just figuring out the bullpen and who's going to play second or third, because Jazz can go back to second and you can have Peraza play third, or you can keep Jazz at third because he was actually really good over there on the learning on the fly. He played pretty well at third base if you look at his advanced metrics. So you can keep him at third, you can put Peraza at second, you can go with a guy like Vivas, and the Yankees would really just have to figure out first base because Dominguez is more than likely going to be in left field or center field next year. And I would say left because Judge will stick in center. You have Stanton. You'd have to just really have to figure out first base, and you could probably go to the trade market for that. Is Yandy Diaz available? Is a guy like Nathaniel Lowe available from Texas? Would they try to move some players?
I like Nate Lowe, and we were going to get into first base after we finish the Soto topic, but yeah, we'll move on to first base in a second. But yeah, let's continue on about Juan Soto. Do you think the Yankees are going to reach the $700 million mark in a contract with Soto, or will it be less than that?
I don't think it'll reach 700, but if it had to, depending on the years, how many years does he want? Because I don't see him going like 70 million a year. I don't think it's gonna. If that's the case, I don't think any team's paying him 70 a year. But if you have to, you might have no choice. If it's like 13 years, I don't know. I don't know the math on that, but I don't think it'll take 700 million. I think we're going to see a pretty significant contract. He'll probably break Otani's AAV because it's not 70. His AAV is like 40 something, I think, on the payroll. He'll probably surpass that, but I don't think it's going to go to 700 unless it's deferred.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out more in the winter meetings. I mean, it's only a couple of weeks away. I mean, I'll tell you what, guys, you stick with us because we are going to have a lot of shows because there's going to be a lot of news from between now until right through to the winter. There's going to be a lot of moves. There's going to be a lot of interesting conversations to have. The Yankees have a lot of work to do. I mean, they have to address a bunch of things. They have to address their bullpen. They also have to completely remake their bullpen. If I'm being completely honest, they have to completely remake their bullpen. I think they probably need a number two starter because they reneged on that multiple times last year when a second starter might have put them over the top. The Dodgers beat the Yankees not just on the field but off the field. The Dodgers made the moves that they needed to make at the trade deadline. They got Edman. They got bullpen arms. They got a bunch of guys, and they were in the same. The Yankees were in on a bunch of the same guys that the Dodgers went, but the Dodgers got them because the Dodgers wanted it more. But Brian Cashman is always he's just always afraid to just go all in. Since 2009, it's always been like, well, we're going a little bit, we're going most of the way, but not completely. And I didn't understand that. I felt that if there was 1 year where you go absolutely all in and Hal Steinbrenner just has to go, all right, then for me, that was the year. Last year, that's when you have Juan Soto and you have Aaron Judge hitting almost 60 home runs. That was the year. That was the year. You know, you had Garrett Cole before he was going to opt out. You had Stanton, who's doing his thing. All these things are working with you in your favor, and you don't go all in. Annoyed me. And to be honest, the Yankees got what they deserved because the Dodgers were the better team, the stronger team. But we've got 80 people in the chat, and we haven't said hello to you guys yet. So we're almost 30 minutes in. What are we doing? Very sorry. So hit the like button, guys. Everybody that's watching, there's 80 people in the chat. Hit the like button for us. You don't know what positive things it does for our channel. If you hit that like button, the more likes that we get, the more it gets shared out, and more people watch it, more people sub up, and then it's good for business. So everybody hit that like button for us. And if you're watching, you haven't already done so, hit the sub button too. We will have tons of content for you all the way through the off season. This is the fun stuff because me and Rob can go into GM mode, and we do love that kind of shit. So hit the sub button for us. Now let's say hello to Rob. Could you say hello to everybody in the chat for me?
Hello, America. What's going on to everybody in the chat? We got a lot of you, and if I go name by name, we'll be here for another 30 minutes. So I just want to say what's up to everybody. We know the usual suspects. We got Jared in here, Sean, Dev, Jonathan. Jonathan's here bright and early. Gregory, Wayne, Lou with the capital Lou. Lou is here. Mike Lopez in the chat. I don't think I've seen him in the chat before, but if you have been, my apologies. But it was good to see some unfamiliar names, so hopefully we see more of you. Alex, Big Blue in the Bronx is here. Always good to see the boy. We got Sean Browning. We got Raziel always telling people to hit the like button, so we respect you. We love you, Raziel. We love you. Brad's in the chat. I don't know what time it is over there in the Down Under, but he's here. My dad's in the chat causing with bad jokes and making his predictions for Juan Soto. Joe is in the chat. Just a great group of people on a Monday morning, and we're all hoping for the same thing. Damien's in the chat. We all want Juan Soto back. So a good morning to everybody. CT Cards, Ken, NFE on the Strike Zone. Always make sure to check out his channel. He's great. John the Beagle Dad. I can go on and on and on, but we're glad you're with us here on this Monday morning.
Thank you,
talking
O1.
Yankees baseball.
Thank you for the positive message. And who else have we got? We got Joe Coelho. Salute to you. Casey Cheese, good to see you in the chat too. Got Joseph Salvatore, loves the channel. Thank you very much, Joseph. Salute to you. Lou says MLB has an article saying the decision was yesterday at 5 for Cole. I guess they were wrong. Yeah, nobody seems to know anything, and it seems very similar to last offseason, where nobody seemed to know anything either about the offseason. So salute to NFE and FJ, and of course Uncle Tats. Let's everybody in the chat send your prayers up to Uncle Tats. He's got his brothers in the hospital. His brother's been on with us a couple times. He's a great guy. Just send the prayers up to him, guys, if you could. Everybody, Greg and John, thanks very much for being in the chat as well. Acevedo. I believe that CT Cards might have a health issue, according to a chat earlier. So prayers up as well to CT. We love everybody in the chat. So salute to all of you. Hit that like button. Hit that sub button. And there's CT. Salute to you, brother. I hope you're doing okay. And Brad says, prayers for Uncle Tats. Amen. Prayers for Uncle Tats and his family. Ken, thank you for the super chat. What up, Ken? Congratulations on 800 subs. The next one is 900 and then 1K. Once we get to 1K, we'll have to have a celebration. So that we reached, our goal was to get to 800 by the end of the regular season. And so we've done that. So that's a big achievement. Very, very happy with that. So once again, we couldn't have done it without you guys. So, hit that like button. So that's Juan Soto covered. What I will say is there is no excuse not to bring him back. There isn't an excuse. I think he's now 1A, 1B with Aaron Judge. There's no excuse not to offer him the moon and the stars. Whatever it takes. So get it done. Get it done. Because to be honest, I'm reading stuff like, oh, well, if they don't get Juan Soto, there's a backup plan of maybe like Christian Walker or Anthony Santander and blah, 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 blah. There isn't a backup plan to Juan Soto. There isn't. You're talking about somebody who's going to be 26 all next year. He's only going to be 26. And he's already arguably the best player in baseball. So You don't let that slide. You can't. You can't let that walk out the building. Now, is he the best outfielder? I don't care.
He doesn't need to
Because
be.
offensively, he's freaking incredible. Offensively, he's absolutely incredible. So when I listened to Susan Waldman and she was like, Soto's really something, but he's not an outfielder. I don't care. He's more than a little something. He's freaking incredible. We love Susan Waldman, by the way, but he is freaking incredible. And I think he's better than what even we think he is. I think he's still got more levels that he can climb. There isn't anything that he can't do. I mean, he actually exceeded our expectations in right field. I think he had a very good year in right field. Now, he made a couple of mistakes, but in general, he had a solid right field. Did a good job, strong arm. There wasn't anything that was too bad. Now, would I love it if he moved to left field and then moved Aaron Judge to right field? I think that would probably suit us better because I don't like Aaron Judge in center field. I don't. I think I like him in right field. But really, I do agree, Mike, that he sucks on defense. I mean, he was a candidate for a Gold Glove. Now, was it? I mean, is that the best indicator? No, because I don't think he is necessarily the best outfielder in the world. But he made some nice plays, and he had a bunch of assists in the opening series against the Astros, where Clay Holmes was desperate to blow it, and Soto kept saving his ass. I think he was fine. I think he was fine. But Soto played left field in San Diego. Yes, Greg. I think that he would be better off there.
He's better in right though.
Yeah.
His best defensive seasons have all come in right field. You think he's bad in right field, you want to see him in left field, and you'll see a lot worse. And you're right, Ken brought up Santander, who's far worse defensively than Soto. You think Soto's bad, just wait till you see Santander in right field. You're getting a great bat if you got Santander, no doubt about it. You're going to get a 30 home run a year guy. But your defense is going to significantly decrease from what you have right now. And yeah, Raziel, Soto in left is a nightmare. He's worse in left. That's why when we traded for him, I was perfectly fine with moving him to right field because his best season prior to last year defensively was 2021, I believe, or maybe the year before, or 2019, in right field. Whenever he played right field in Washington, he was a plus defender. And he doesn't need to be a Gold Glover, even though he was a finalist for it this year. He just needs to be fine. He just needs to be average, and that's exactly what he was. He was maybe below average. You don't need a Gold Glover everywhere. You really don't. No. He's got a great arm, but he doesn't need to be a frickin' Ken Griffey Jr. or Bernie Williams in the outfield. This is Juan Soto we're talking about. You're not buying him for the glove. I can tell you that right now. You ain't giving him $600 million plus for his glove. It's for his bat, his on-base ability, his ability to get the big hit in the postseason and get you to a World Series and hopefully to a World Series championship. That's what you're paying him $650 million for. You're not paying him to be a plus outfielder. That's for damn sure.
Soto's beyond special, and there isn't a backup plan for him. What we should do is think about first base, and that's what our next topic is going to be. Briefly, let's talk about first base. So the breaking news, I'm sure it's not really breaking news. We didn't pick up Rizzo's option. Now, does that mean that the Yankees revisit Rizzo on a cheaper contract? I don't think so. I kind of hope not. Now, it's not any disrespect to Anthony Rizzo, because when I listen to Anthony Rizzo talk in that post game, you know how much it means to him to wear the pinstripes, and it's a dream come true for him. He is absolutely forever, once a Yankee, always a Yankee. He's absolutely that. So I've got nothing but respect for that guy. But the truth is, he's kind of cooked. Offensively, he's kind of cooked. So we need to upgrade. So what kind of options? I like your idea about Lowe. I think that's something you can visit in a trade. What other options, Christian Walker?
Yeah, you can go internally if you wanted to with Ben Rice again, give him a full season. You can try TJ Rumfield, but if you're trying to get back to the World Series, Christian Walker would be a great addition. I like Lowe because he's got good defense over there at first, plus a lefty bat in Yankee Stadium. We know how that goes. the power will increase. So I think the thing is you have options. They like Yandy Diaz. They were trying to get him last year. He's not a great defender though, and one thing you will need at first base is a better glove. That's why I like Nathaniel Lowe a lot. Is it Lowe or is it Lau? I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Cabrera at first base. I'd rather keep Cabrera as that utility guy.
Me
If they
too.
don't bring Birdie back, Cabrera can play everywhere, and you can utilize that. Plus, they didn't really trust him enough to play him at first base a lot in the playoffs anyway. Once Rizzo was back, he was there every day. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think Lowe, Walker, Diaz, or then and option four would be go internally.
yeah. I think Lau is someone that you can consider. He's got a nice OPS and decent numbers. Not like nothing that's going to blow you away, but I think that he would be somewhere that I think he'd suit Yankee Stadium. So his OPS was just slightly under 800, 762, which I think we'd all take, considering what our first base was giving us, which was like a league worst. I think it was like 500-ish OPS. So 762 is above league average considerably. Batting average 265 is also above league average. 16 homers, 69 RBIs. That's kind of fine, and it's in a big ballpark over in Texas. So I think I think he'd actually trend up. He bats left, so he could swing for that porch, and he's under 30, which is great because we have far too many players that are over 30. So let's get some youth in here. I kind of like Lua. I think he's affordable as well.
It all depends on what Texas wants to do. Do they try to shed some salary? But they could also easily win the West next year because that division with I don't know where Houston's going to be, but they've got Seager and Simeon, Garcia. They got a great team. DeGrom will be healthy, so they could easily go for a division title next year. I don't know if they want to move anybody. Christian Walker just being a free agent makes so much sense because, like Damian brought up, he's probably the best defensive first baseman in the National League.
No doubt.
So, and again, you have the money. He's a little bit older, I believe, but if you're trying to get a sure thing at a premium position, and I don't want to hear about this moving Soto to first base stuff or not moving Judge or Soto to first base, you can absolutely afford Juan Soto and Christian Walker, and that would allow you to build from within at positions like second base or third base. Because if you have Soto,
Walker's
yeah,
33.
you could probably get him like a 4-year deal. You wouldn't have to really break the bank. Murakami, I don't know when he's available. I think it's next year for him. Because I think he turns 25 next year, so he wouldn't be posted until next season. I don't know if we can wait to have a rental at first base. If that's the case, then maybe you go with Josh Bell, like Ken says. Switch hitter, decent glove. That wouldn't be the worst option, but
I like Josh Bell. I like him.
you can go that route if you're waiting on
Walker,
Murakami.
that's righty, and I'm not sure if I want another righty bat. I think we need another lefty bat.
Oh, they're posting him early, Damian. I heard that there was some rumors about that, but that'd be interesting because would he fall into the international free agent? Because if that's the case, you can get him on the very cheap. If he's getting posted early, does he fall under IFA or does he just get an actual free agent deal like Yamamoto? Because there's so much rumors surrounding him and Sasaki. He's getting posted. Or if that's the case, then I will gladly take Murakami. I love that guy. I've been talking about Murakami since 2020 when we were on the show, so I would gladly take him. I just don't know if that would fall under the IFA like Otani did, or if he would get like a full-on free agent contract.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of thing we're talking about. His ideal position is third and first base. He bats left.
He's
I like
power.
that.
He's a big bat, that's for sure.
Yeah, 224 home runs in the Japanese league. Sign me up! Sign me up, Scotty!
Absolutely. And we wouldn't lose him to the Dodgers. You're right, Lou, because they don't need a first baseman. Thank God they don't need a first baseman because I can see Sasaki going there. The second he's available, the Dodgers are going to go for Sasaki.
So
if he's an IFA, you're going to get him for like $2 million signing bonus. So prefers. I've been hearing about Murakami being a big Matsui guy, and he's always talked about the Yankees in previous interviews. That's why I've been so high on the guy. because he seems like he wants to be a Yankee. And I would feel like the Yankees would love to have him because they need a first baseman. It's a perfect marriage. And you wouldn't worry about losing him to the Dodgers because they don't need one. Seattle is a team that I can see needing him, though.
Oh my God, wait, is he only 20? Is he only 24?
Right, because they're posting him early. The age of posting is 25 for the Japanese free agents. For the whole posting system, it's usually the age of 25. So you would get him basically like a up and coming prospect for a signing bonus. That's why this is a perfect opportunity.
And like the last year, I think he had like 56 home runs. Is that right?
He's insane. He's absolutely insane. He turns 25 in February. You're getting a premium prospect. So, yes, if he's getting posted early, and I thank everyone that told me that, that's my choice now. Everything I said before, scrub it from the record. Murakami, yeah, bring him to the Bronx.
Yeah, so in 2022 he had 56. I wonder what he did these past couple of years.
I think his numbers have dropped a little bit, but he's
Right.
still better than Rizzo. To be honest, at this point, he's much better than Anthony Rizzo.
Oh, obviously, absolutely. I mean, hey, if he gets posted, then you got to do it. And listen, the Dodgers won't be in on it because they've got the best fucking first baseman in baseball. So I think we should be clear to get him. The Dodgers usually take all our Japanese talent anyway, so it would be nice to get one. I agree. Like Murakami would be the option one. Walker would be a decent option. Other names that we've heard banded about: Goldschmidt. I am a huge Goldschmidt fan, but the dude's old. I am a huge Goldschmidt fan, but that dude is old. Um, I'm not sure whether that's the best route to go. But damn, I'm a huge fan. I've always liked him. He's been one of my favorite players in the league for a while. But he didn't have the greatest year this year. I think the age is starting to come up. But he's 37. He had 22 home runs, which is still massively better than Rizzo. But a OPS plus of 98, which is below average. OPS of 716, that's pretty much below average too, right? OBP of just 300. It looks like his numbers are starting to decline, Goldschmidt. So, as big a fan as I am of him, he's not the same player. If it was 2 years ago, absolutely. but unfortunately, age has kind of caught up with him.
I'll answer Mike real quick. If he's falling under IFA rules, it would not take that much money to get him. It would just simply be signing bonus. The same way the Angels got Ohtani. You got Ohtani on the cheap, and then he fell under, like, he would go into arbitration and all that. That's why the Yankees can do that, because it would just be a signing bonus. It wouldn't cost you Yamamoto money. If he becomes an actual free agent where everyone can get a chance to offer him like $30 million a year, then I don't see us getting both Soto and Murakami. Yeah, you have to pay his team, but that's not going against your payroll. I'm talking about going against the terms of the payroll. You get him for IFA money, he's going to be costing you nothing in terms of your payroll next year. I just have to find out whether or not he'd be an IFA or just a regular free agent.
I want to hear more about this Murakami stuff. There's not that many reports, so I would like to see how this develops during the winter meetings.
It's just a waiting game at this point.
Are you sure that Murakami isn't posted next year?
That's what I thought. I originally thought he was going to get posted next year, but apparently they're posting him early. That's what 3 people told us in the chat. So I need to.
He's expected to. I mean, sources that I trust on Twitter are saying that he's expected to be posted in 2025. So
right, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Well, we can't ask him about that NFE because he's blocked, but.
So
yeah, I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to look into that further.
Yeah.
If he does make himself available, then obviously he's absolutely number one. If he's not, what would you consider as a possibility? Because remember, he can also play third base.
Yeah, but you more than likely want to put him at first because he's not a great defender. If he's not posted, I would say you go with Christian Walker and see if Texas wants to move Nathaniel Lowe. That would be the best choices. And then if not, you build from within, I guess. No, you
I
didn't
think
miss
Eli's
anything.
hiding because I keep eviscerating him on Twitter.
No, he's blocked. He's not coming into the chat again. He's not going to come calling everybody in our chat morons when this guy is
Absolutely.
suggesting the worst possible trades of all time. Enough is enough with him.
Yeah, you don't call everybody a moron, especially the host, and then the people in the chat. No,
No, we ain't standing for. You can talk about us all you want, but you ain't disrespecting our viewers like that.
no, that's fair. That's more than fair. So yeah, first base is a priority. Another priority would be left field. The Yankees don't seem to trust Dominguez. Will they suddenly trust Dominguez next year?
They better, because there's another prospect they've held out of trades. They could have had Soto 3 years ago if they wanted to trade a guy like Dominguez. They could go the route of is Spencer Jones ready? Does that make him an option in left field? And do you put? I'd love to. Do you put Dominguez in center? What do you do? Like, there's so many. I don't know what they want to do. You got me. You got me thinking about hitting somebody. Anyway, I would think you got to put Dominguez in left field. I think he's got to be your left fielder. If not, then you got to get Judge in left, because I don't think they're moving Soto. Assuming Soto's back, he's not going anywhere but right field.
Yeah. We need to improve the coaching. If we're going to have him play left field, we need to have better coaching that's going to work on these guys, because the Yankees are incredibly arrogant with the way that they handle prospects and just in general analytics. And I think we should close out on that. What are the Yankees going to do? Are they going to add any coaching that's going to help on the big league level? Because there's been far too many mistakes. We're working under the assumption that Aaron Boone's coming back. God forbid. But we're working under that assumption. So once again, the Yankees have to work around the problem that they're creating by keeping Aaron Boone in place. So how can they go about doing that? Would you maybe make a change at bench coach? Or maybe make a change at third base coach? What kind of ideas have you got?
Well, Rojas has to go. I would hope that I'm seeing a lot of stuff about Vlad Jr. I'll just say this real quick. If he's available, take him, whatever it takes. But that's another conversation. You should have, if you saw the disrespect that the Dodgers gave you by calling you out with Yankee defense, that should open some eyes in the organization, at least I hope, to kind of change things up when it comes to the way they coach in their own system. Because we talked about this before. They don't teach these fundamental things in the minors, apparently, which is absolutely absurd when you think about it. They rely on talent over fundamentals, and that's not the way to win, because it cost us a World Series. It literally cost us a World Series. We could have taken this thing to Game 6, possibly even Game 7, just with better fundamentals. And that's not just me talking as a fan, that's literal facts. If you watch Game 5, which we all saw it, fundamentals win you that baseball game. And we're talking about a potential Game 6 and maybe even a Game 7. So fundamentals cost us a chance at winning our first championship in 15 years. I would hope that, combined with the Dodgers literally telling you, we're going to make you beat yourself, would open some eyes in this organization. Now, will they do it? Probably not, because they seem to like what they have. But they need to get rid of a lot in terms of the way they scout. Well, the scouting's okay, but they need to get rid of the analytics idiot. I don't even want to say his name, but God, they got to get rid of him. And they need to just... Yeah,
rotten fish.
Yeah,
rotten
that
fish,
piece of garbage. They just need to. Not even Bobby Tats would want to catch him. You would have to. You would have to just kind of build rebuild it from within a little bit when it comes to your fundamentals teaching, which I didn't think we'd have to be saying that for a big league ball club, but here we are.
Once again, I reiterate what the Dodgers told their players in scouting meetings, according to Joel Sherman, was that the Yankees were talent over fundamentals. That if you run the bases with purpose and aggression, the Yankees will self-inflict harm, as was exposed by Betts, Tommy Edman, Freddie Freeman. The value is very high. All you need to do is put the ball in play and watch the Yankees shoot themselves in the foot. They mentioned that the Yankees were not just the major worst base running team by every single metric, but the difference was vast. And then they also said that the Yankees had the worst outfield alignment in the majors in terms of positioning, and also that Jazz Chisholm was to not put a finer point on it, pretty shitty relay guy because he kept getting lost and he wasn't really paying attention as to what was going on. So there are vast issues here, and if that has, I want someone to tell me that has nothing to do with management. Someone tell me that has nothing to do with management. That has everything to do with management, and I am fucking sick of it because I've been watching it for years. Why is it that the Dodgers do what the Yankees do better? Why? Why is it that other teams with less money, less talent, do what the Yankees do but better? The Padres do what the Yankees do but better. They don't have the talent the Yankees do, but they're pretty good talent.
We took their best player.
Yeah. So, right. There isn't an excuse to have talent over fundamentals. There should be talent plus fundamentals. If the Yankees had talent plus fundamentals, we would be singing a different tune right now.
We'd probably be world champions. At the very least, we would have said, man, they put up a fight in a 7-game series against the best team in baseball. We wouldn't be sitting here we wouldn't have been upset after Game 5. We'd have been like, wow, that could have gone either way. You would have had a lot more positivity after that World Series. But the Yankees got exposed by a really good team. I don't want to take anything away from the Dodgers. We outscored them or out-hit them or whatever, but they outplayed us. And why are they world champions? There you go. They were the better fundamental team. They were the smarter team. The Padres learned from the Dodgers. Yeah, maybe they play them all the freaking time. They play them tough every single time. They play them tougher than we did. That's a fact.
No, I mean, the Dodgers are a deeper lineup, much deeper, much better bullpen, and a better manager. He just looks a little tougher. Now, am I the biggest Roberts guy? No, but he's tougher than Boone. And, I mean, Rob, when you watched back, I've watched back that, credit to Talking Yanks. He did an amazing, John Boy did an amazing breakdown of that 13-minute inning there in that 5th inning. Really broke everything down. I do recommend you guys check that out. But when I rewatched that, I was even more infuriated, not by the mistakes on the field, but by Aaron Boone sitting there blowing seeds and eating fucking seeds. He was just stuffing his face through that entire 13 minutes of mayhem that was going on around him. And he was sitting just chewing seeds. He did nothing to try and change things. He didn't send Matt Blake to go out to the mound. He didn't ask anyone to talk to these guys, anything to distract the situation that was imploding in front of the Yankees. Mike, well, what I'm saying is he's tough in comparison to Aaron Boone. I mean, I saw him really rally his troops, and Aaron Boone didn't. So I think he outmanaged Aaron Boone. But no, he's not Tommy Lasorda. When I'm saying tough, I'm talking about like in comparison to Mr. fucking Pink Bubbles over here in Yankee Stadium. So, Barney the dinosaur was just stuffing his face with seeds while frickin' chaos was going on in front of him. Rob, what did you think about that?
He reverted back to factory settings, like I said the other day, because all postseason we couldn't complain about anything Boone was doing. We were just kind of like everything we said was more of a nitpick. Like, but he made a wrong pitching decision here, but he was pretty flawless for most of the postseason up until the World Series, which is the worst possible thing you could do. But just him sitting there and blowing bubbles and not doing anything, and yeah, he reverted back to factory settings. That's exactly what he did. We call him a robot and a puppet. It's like they was like, oh, this guy's again. He's trying to become a little too human again. Got to reset him, and boom, there he was, just back to his old self.
Rob dropped a goated ass punchline. Exactly. You'll remember that. You know where you heard that first. Absolutely. Greg Roberts looked into our dugout a number of times. And he probably looked at him like, these dumb motherfuckers, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're just handing us the World Series. That's what Roberts was looking. He was looking over our dugout like, these dudes are literally handing us the World Series on a plate. It was embarrassing, man. It was embarrassing. Oh my God. And it's a horrible image when things are going wrong. And instead of your manager maybe going to talk to Matt Blake, maybe go and talk to his bench coach, maybe gesturing out for Rizzo to go, or Aaron Judge, the captain, to go and talk to these guys while all shit's breaking down. You know, something that would indicate, let's put a halt to these proceedings and try and like take the momentum away and maybe talk to some of these guys. Didn't do it. Just freaking unreal. Blowing giant pink bubbles. I mean, please, someone do something about these bubbles. Can't you just have normal chewing gum? You can have chewing gum without blowing gigantic pink bubbles. It's a horrible look. But what's an even more horrible look is after the Yankees lost the World Series, Aaron Boone, instead of apologizing, instead of saying that was unacceptable, instead of talking about that fifth inning like that should never happen, never in a World Series, that's something we can fix, he said that that our fundamentals are good, and he doesn't see any issue with them, and it's all fine. And then he cried a little bit because of the heartfelt messages that they sent. We shared loving messages, heartfelt messages of how much we love each other. Oh, give me a break. Give me strength listening to this manager. We just love each other, and we just talked about our togetherness. Oh, God. Give me a frickin' break listening to that man. Oh. Rob.
Oh, we got him for another year, so that's all I can say.
I can't bear it. How is he so soft?
I don't know. That's what they like, apparently. I don't know. I the more I talk about it, I feel like we need to try and move on, but it's so difficult considering how. I know we can't because we got to see him for another year. But it's all really.
Listen to someone do that. I mean, I'm asking my manager of the biggest organization in sports, the most historic organization in sports, who's overseen one of the biggest collapses in the history of the sport, and he's sitting there crying about how much they love each other. I mean, what are we doing here? Just why can't he just be a man and just be like, that's unacceptable. That should never happen. We're better than that. Something like that. Do you know how much that would resonate? But he's hired to be this dude that blows pink bubbles and tells everybody how much he loves them. It's Barney the fucking dinosaur.
Well, we know what his name's going to be for next season.
Barney the dinosaur.
That's it. But on that note, though, I think we've discussed everything we have to discuss. But we will be back Wednesday. I think hopefully Uncle Tats will be joining us. And once again, just want to reiterate what Donald said earlier. We are with you 100% of the way, Uncle Tats. We love you, and we hope everything goes well for you and your brother, because we like seeing your brother in the chat. We like talking with you, bro, and everything's going to be all right. We love you, Tats, but yeah, just wanted to reiterate that message because Uncle Tats is obviously the leader of this thing, and we wouldn't be here without him. So I just want to put that message out there once again for our manager, our captain, Uncle T. We love you.
Salute. And as Uncle T loves to say, wear your pinstripes with pride and play hard and hit the like button, hit the sub button, and we will catch you on the next show. Let's go, Yankees, guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching.